Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us for yet another interview with another one of our famous and really well-known MSPs, John Jackson from Bytagig. John, thanks for joining us today.
Hey, Dave, thank you for having me here. Appreciate it.
No problem. It's such a pleasure to speak to you. I know we spoke, last week, and we had a very long conversation. But to actually now speak to you and broadcast you is really cool. I'm really happy about that. John, so let's get straight into it here. You are the owner of Bytagig, right? Give us a quick overview of how Bytagig started. What it's about. What are your specialities?
Sure. So, Bytagig started in 2009. I was working as a technical program manager at the time at a large enterprise, and just wanted to start this as a side hustle, I guess you could say, and then eventually took it full time about 5 years ago. And since then, we've been growing very quickly, and we're headquartered in Portland, Oregon, but we have technicians in multiple states on both the West Coast and the East Coast. And I think where we specialize in a lot is in cybersecurity and in automation of things such as onboarding processes, provisioning of devices. Our teams worked really hard and learned a lot to be able to quickly help organizations, especially ones that are growing and adding a lot of new employees and devices, things like that. We can really help streamline that process. So much to the point where we could even um, have it shipped directly from a factory to an employee's house or to a remote location, and then be able to quickly get all the apps and services loaded on there from the time that they unbox it. So those are some of our specialties. Obviously, we have a wide range of MSP services, but I would say that cybersecurity is our main focus, and that's why we do a weekly LinkedIn Live about cybersecurity. We have monthly webinars, podcast as well that we host, just to help inform and educate the business community.
Sure. So a lot, you do a lot. There's a lot there, and there's a lot of questions that came up that I wanted to ask you. Before we get into like the more of the technical side of things, is all MSPs are maybe wondering, how did you achieve such growth so quickly? A lot of MSPs maybe spend a good 10 years to achieve what you have described. What do you relate to your success?
Um, a couple of things. One is I think a lot of business owners and MSP owners are no exception. It's like trying to do it all ourselves
Sure.
for as long as possible. I kind of took the opposite approach. Is like I've come from the school of thought that good leaders are delegators, and I spent a lot of time training my initial first few hires, and came across some really good finds. That's of course, there's always a few mistakes we make in hiring,
Oh,
and of course, I've made a few of those in my business career. But just learning how to find good people around me who can help. Uh, I can help easily train and delegate a lot of the technical duties to. A lot of MSP business owners still get involved in tickets and ticketing systems and things like that. And I'm happy to say that for the past year, I've been involved in hardly any tickets, next to none. Um, I think maybe two or three are sitting on my plate right now, and it's all like low level non-customer facing stuff. So, um, building a team around me who can handle the tickets, handle the technical troubleshooting, and do all that while I can focus on growing the business and doing sales and business development,
sure.
and other strategic planning work.
So from your comments there, it's very evident that you not only support obviously a local business community, but you obviously support a national footprint. And whatever client is looking at you for potential services, you can accommodate those services. Is that a fair statement?
That's correct. Yeah, we have 12 hours of support coverage on regular business days from since we're based in Pacific time, I'll just go with that, 5 a.m.
Oh,
Pacific time till 5 p.m. Pacific. So that's for remote help desk, which covers 90 to 95% of what most of our customers need. We have some customers who we've never needed to do on-site support just because maybe they're a remote workforce.
Sure.
Um, or I shouldn't say maybe, it's because they are a remote workforce and all their employees are working from home.
Sure.
So in those types of situations, either maybe they're shipping a device to us, or maybe they just um, need some basic hardware work that we can coordinate with a local technician to get done, or something that's under warranty, etc. And then, for in some situations, we have had to have send technicians on site on a regular basis. Some customers need that, and so we hire
Sure.
technicians in that local area to be able to facilitate that contract.
Great. And you already answered this, but just for the sake of our viewers here, it's you operate and offer a full range or a full workshop from the time a device is asked or requisitioned or even purchased to the full support, implementation, software management, and additional employee support. So it's the full range of IT services across the board. That's what I'm hearing you say, correct?
Yeah, correct. From the very time somebody is hired to the when if whenever they're terminated,
Sure.
we can handle that full life cycle of the device and the user account, and we set up templates and processes and things like that with our business customers, so that a business that may be scaling from a small startup scale of 1 to 10 employees going up to 200, like
Sure.
we've rode that we've rode that process, and it was a little hectic at first because we were still trying to figure out what all apps and services, what is this template that they need, and
Sure.
then we started to build and automate it out from there. So that's one of our larger examples, but we've had other situations where some clients are just on a regular refresh rate with their hardware, and we go through that whole process of quoting and procurement and getting those devices installed for the new employee, and we just offer a white glove experience there, and trying to make it as simple and as easy as possible for the employees, so
Okay.
that they have a
So
regular
I have
updated device.
okay, not a problem. Great. I have to ask this question, and I ask this to every single MSP we interview: is there are thousands of MSPs across the United States, right? Some very large, some very small.
Yeah,
What about you and your company makes you so different to a client that is looking at your services?
yeah, I think the number I read is like 40,000 MSPs in the US, right?
Yeah,
So so obviously, uh there's a lot of MSPs that are working very hard to differentiate themselves, right? And so i
sure,
think where I think what it comes down to is, can you trust your MSP, and do they care about you, and do they deliver on the promise? And so that's what we try to build hard into our corporation, is in our culture, is, do we care about our employees, and do we show them that we care enough so that then they feel cared about and they can pass that along to the customer. They feel like that's a critical piece of what we do. And so we we do a lot of things to illustrate that we care about our employees. Like, we have a good work life balance. We're not like calling them at 9 o'clock every night, um, interrupting their family life and things like that. And then we're also doing things to, like, over time, like when we first hired our employees, we couldn't offer benefits. Right. So that's something we
sure.
started to add on as we grew as a company, and to continue to illustrate our care for our employees. Going beyond that, our employees, oftentimes, like, we track our customer satisfaction ratings on tickets. And so I have real-time data visualization of how we're doing as a company taking care of our customers. And I think we have over 99.5% customer satisfaction rating right now.
Okay,
And so you know, we know that our customers are being taken care of because of their feedback to us, and
sure,
that they feel cared about. And so that's just being timely in your responses, and a lot of these things just matter, is like returning a phone call or returning a ticket. Just the basics. A lot of companies over time grow old and forget about those things. So that's what we strive hard to make sure that is built into our employee culture, is that we've got to be timely, we've got to be responsive, we've got to take care of the customer.
one thing, since we started this interview, one thing I've heard you refer back to over and over again is, and please correct me if I'm wrong here, but it's the backbone of your company is the support and the direction you give your staff to support your employees. Is that a fair statement?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so let's go over to that very quickly, and let's dig into that a little bit. So a lot of MSPs, a lot, and you're right. I think last time I calculated was around about 42,000 MSPs according to the IRS, right? Um, but a lot of those MSPs don't have what you have. A lot of those MSPs are still struggling to even try and do what you're doing with your staff that are all across the country, right? How do you effectively support them and make sure that they are trained and up to date with latest technology?
Great question. So, we have every morning our lead technician has a daily stand up with all of our techs via Zoom,
Okay.
and so that there's a regular check in with them, and then he has like every week he'll have a one on one with each technician,
Okay.
so that they're like looking at their tickets, saying, "Hey, look at there's some tickets here. Like, what can we do to help move these tickets forward? Maybe it's something that we're not getting the right answer out of the customer that we need, or maybe that it's something that we're struggling with finding a resolution to." And so, always looking and seeing, like, evaluating, and saying, "Okay, is this something that? How can I help?" And then maybe it is a training thing, right? Maybe there's this ticket that needs to be escalated that hasn't been escalated yet.
Sure.
So constantly looking at that type of information. And of course, like I mentioned before, we have a customer satisfaction tracking system. So
Sure.
if for some reason there was a bad review on a ticket, we could have him look at that and address and train based off of that. So I think that over time we've kind of systematized how we keep track of our employees and their progress, like you're saying, training. A lot of that's we have a very collaborative environment in our team. Like we
Yeah.
use Slack, and we have a lot of messaging channels and things like that that we can talk back and forth, since we are virtual, and we're spread across the US, that we can instantly have conversations about any ticket or issue that may pop up. So our team feels very well supported, and we've kind of built a collaborative, supportive environment about that, where we encourage people, hey, if you see somebody struggling with something, like, feel free to you know uh, message everybody in the channel here, and then we can have a group discussion about it.
Great. John, so we're pushing up on our time limit now. But before we do close this, to any of our viewers that are watching now or in the future, do you have any closing comments you would like to say to them?
Well, we'd love to have a conversation if anybody's interested in learning more about us. Really, if you would just like to kind of follow what we're doing and following our progress as we continue to grow. I think we're going to have some exciting news here coming up in the next couple of months, but
Yep.
I don't want to speak too soon. So, anyways, of course, you can always follow Bytagig on LinkedIn. We do have our Spotify podcast as well. So the LinkedIn lives that we have every Wednesday, always welcome to feel free to follow us there. Just keep keep uh, keep your ear to the ground and see what's new in the world of cybersecurity.
Awesome. John, thanks so much for the time. Again, such a pleasure to speak to you. I know we spoke last week, but again, anyone who is watching, if you're trying to reach out to Bytagig, their website is below. John Jackson, the owner of Bytagig, please reach out, have a chat with them. Even if you just want to shoot a question over to them or you need some advice, just reach out and let them help
Absolutely.
you. So, John, thanks so much
Absolutely.
for this time. I hope you have a fantastic
Yeah.
day, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you, Dave.
All right, speak to you later. Bye.